Terror suspect kept visa to avoid tipping off larger investigation. So we know they were tracking him. We know his father warned them. We know all this was going on. I mean, this is just absolutely staged out in the open, and we know that this threat of terror is being used to clamp down on the American people. And so you are calling for a new 9/11 investigation here, and that's good. I mean, who would investigate it? Because it's the same corrupt politicians every time that have a incentive to want to cover up what the system's done in the past. I mean, who investigates it? State grand juries? Who?
Well, I think you've got to find someone of somewhere getting out of the politics and doing it. And frankly, the 9/11 Commission was made up of people who all had background and agendas almost contrary to the good interests of the country, trying to get to the bottom. So you got to find people who have two things. First off, the skill set to understand what they're looking at. I argue half the 9/11 staff did not understand the importance of certain things that were brought to them, and I would cite Able Danger as one. Secondly, you got to have people who do not have political agendas, and frankly, it's hard to find, but not impossible. This is where one of those things, if there is a will to have someone allow a selection process to go through, a vetting process to go through, you could find the right people. I mean, you could find people who would do a credible job of telling the truth, but that process itself would be painful. It'd probably take about, probably a year to get the right people selected, but simply because it's tough to do, there's no reason to not do it. Anything.
So we need the people to continue investigating and lawsuits and other things. In closing, Colonel Shaffer, and we appreciate your time here and your courage to come on and talk about these issues. They're vetting your book right now in national security. It's coming out, I guess, in the next few months, hopefully.
The date is 31 August. We get the published date is 31 August.
Okay, so coming up in August, we'll have you back then. We appreciate your time. How much are they going to allow you to put in there that the public hasn't known so far? Can you give us any tidbits of stuff that's been vetted and that you're allowed to release?
Well, I guess the one thing I can talk about in good detail is the fact that there's an entire chapter devoted to my initial conversations with Philip Zelikow at Bagram. This is not something I was able to go into for any number of reasons when I testified, and I pretty much go through the entire, verbatim what happened. And so, it is from my recollection. You have to remember that. And I go through and provide the detail. The other thing I think is going to be notable about the book is it wasn't just me talking. We had collaboration and support from other members who were deployed with me. So when you read the book, you'll have to understand it's been vetted not only by, a security review, but the folks who are actually there with me have participated in helping write the book. So,
and we're going to get a bird's eye view into how you were specifically blocked from taking out Al-Qaeda before the attacks.
Well, don't forget, this is only the introduction of Able Danger. It's not going to be a teaser, but this covers my deployment to Afghanistan in 03 and 04 and where the disclosure made. Basically, the thing that came after in 05 and 06 is an entirely different story. But this actually talks about in great detail my protected disclosure to Phil Zelikow and what happened to me when they tried to shut me up.
And it covers Stratus Ivy, correct?
It touches upon that a little bit. As a matter of fact, Stratus Ivy is brought up in greater detail. As a matter of fact, it's one of the new things. There's a little bit more detail on Stratus Ivy that looks like they'll be able to read about in the book.
But bottom line, Colonel Shaffer, the establishment gets more power out of these terror attacks, and I find that very suspicious.
I find it the fact that we've given the intelligence community a lot more authority, a lot more money, a lot more resources, and we're still having problems to be something terribly wrong. And again, your listeners should really question where is the money going and what are we spending it for? Because they're getting a lot of money.
Colonel Shaffer, thank you. Birgitta Jónsdóttir is going to be joining us coming up in the final hour. Big victory against the banks trying to plunder and continue their plundering of Iceland, sending shockwaves around the world in a national referendum over the weekend saying no to the bankers taking over and running their society. Coming up in the next 50 minutes of the broadcast, A Lamp in the Dark by the documentary filmmaker who made Eye of the Phoenix, Secrets of the Dollar Bill, Riddles in Stone, The Secret Architecture of Washington, D.C., and, of course, the first in the series, America's Secret Beginnings, The New Atlantis. All available, discounted at Infowars.com. But this new film goes in another direction. We'll be playing some clips of this off the DVD in the background when he joins us today. I may let him go about 40 minutes into the interview, though, because I've got news here I've absolutely got to hit on. There is just so much going on that we need to cover that we haven't even gotten into yet today in my stacks of news. The legislative front, the open borders, the amnesty, the gun grabbing, the naked body scanners, the police state, secret arrest and torture of citizens being prepared. I mean, it is just an all-out power grab going on. Before I go any further and go to our guest, I want to thank some of our sponsors that make this radio show possible. Supernatural Silver. Are you prepared if a disaster should strike here or at home? Planning for unexpected disasters is essential for you and those that you care about. The new Silver Solution is an important tool to help you arm yourself in an emergency situation. They got patented information, patented process, patent approved on the topical application of this. Check it out at supernaturalsilver.com to see many of the amazing ways to use the product. Supernaturalsilver.com, from first aid to water purification, everything in between. The new Silver Solution, what you need in any crisis. Go to supernaturalsilver.com or click on the banner at Infowars.com. Again, that's one word, supernaturalsilver.com. The big issue here, and I know you as listeners know this, but our mission is to get this out to the general public. That there is a world government. There's no longer any denial. It is run by the banks like all the old-timers warned us it was. It's been in control for a long time. Now it's out in the open because it's really starting to clamp down on every facet of our lives. Like this article I have here in my stack. I'm looking for it. I meant to get to it. I mentioned it earlier. From, of all places, this is from ESPN. And we actually covered this months ago, but now it's getting attention because it's on ESPN, and that's good news. That under the law of the sea treaty and separate environmental rules they're trying to pass, because Obama can't get that ratified, they're talking about seizing all inland waterways, lakes, ponds, streams, standing water. It's worse than the Wetlands Act we saw 15 years ago that failed, where if you had a rainwater, the feds could come in and not let you use your land or build on it. This is even below water. They have this new fake Clean Water Act they're trying to ram through. And it's so diabolical. They want control of every facet of your life. And so they tell you, oh, we're taking your land, we're taking your property, we're raising taxes on you to save the earth, and you're going to pay your taxes to these private banks. It's totally transparent. Open world dictatorship being set up by private banks in everyone's face. And guys, I can't find it. Will you reprint me? It's up on Drudge, too. I know it's on InfoWars and Prison Planet. The ESPN article about fishing to be banned. They can't go angling now if they have their way. I mean, total control. Talk about a dictatorship.